here. Suppose, for example, that we had a male who was Hispanic, and to make it easy, they answered, let's say, 6 on each of these questions. Okay, so our gender, male, they would get a 1 for gender, so we'll enter a 1. For ethnicity, they're Hispanic, so they would get a 4. Now, this answer here, other ethnicity, only applies if someone answered other or 5 and they stated something. If they did, then we would type it in, such as biracial. But they did not, so we're going to just press delete there. So we just skip over it. Let's say the person was 25, and then recall they answered a 6 on all 5 of the items on satisfaction with life scale. Okay, so that looks good. Say the second person is female, so 2. They were Caucasian, let's say, so 3 here. So we're going to skip other ethnicity. They were 21, and then they answered, say, 7s on the satisfaction with life scale. Okay, and then one more, let's say another female, so that would be a 2. And this person was other for race, and they were biracial. They wrote in on the form, so we would put that. And then their age was 32, and this person answered 3 on the first 3 questions and 4 on the last 2. And we would see that just by looking at their form and seeing what they circled. Okay, so that's a basic example for entering data, creating a data file from a questionnaire and entering some values as well. Now, we'll do an analysis in a minute, but there's one other thing that you might want to consider. Often when if we have hard copies of these surveys, if we've administered them to people by hand, then often we'll want to keep track of each individual survey with a number. We'll have a ID number on the survey, such as this may be 001 if it's the first person. The next one could be 002 and so forth. So if I want to record that, then what I want to do is make a modification of this data set here. Let's take a look at that. That can be very useful. This will illustrate how to enter or insert a variable and how to insert it where you want it to be, and also how to create a ID variable which will not be a number, but instead it will be treated as text. And I'll show you what I mean here. So let's go right here, click on gender, and then right click the mouse button and then select insert variable, and notice how that put it right before gender. It's just what we want, so that's perfect. We'll call this ID, and then under type we're going to select string, click OK, and then let's go ahead and go to data view, and notice how that's once again to the left of gender, and then we'll type 001 for the first person, 002 for the second, 003, and we could just do that all the way down as we had more people or what have you. Okay, I'll go ahead and delete these 2 though. Select those and press the delete key. And then that looks good. We've got our data set here, and we could run some basic analyses, such as we could run, actually one more thing. Let's take a look at this before we do that. Let's go ahead and click on this button here. This is known as our value labels button. If I click on that, notice what happens here. We have our males and females, they're displayed, and then the ethnicity is displayed. And then here, if someone answered a 1 or a 7, that label of either strongly agree or strongly disagree is displayed. As you can see here, strongly agree. If I click on that again, it turns it off. And you can leave it on if you want, it's just a preference. And then let's go ahead and do a basic analysis. So let's find the frequency of these 2 variables here. So how many males there are, how many females, and then how many of each ethnicity. Now obviously, when we only have 3 people, we could just look at this and tell very quickly. But pretend we have hundreds of people or what have you. So we go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics,